Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to tell you in the next few minutes can change your life forever. If you feel poor, if you believe you have nothing, if you think the world owes you something, you have already lost. The most dangerous poverty is not in your wallet, it is in your mind. Carl Jung never wrote about successful beggars. He wrote about men who conquered inner empires without owning a single coin. The difference is simple. They never perceived themselves as poor. There is something no one tells you, brother, something schools do not teach, and that your family probably never understood. True poverty is not measured in dollars. It is measured in consciousness. I have seen people with full bank accounts living like emotional beggars, and I have seen men with nothing build entire worlds through pure psychological clarity. Do you know the difference? The first think like the deprived, even with money. The second think like rulers, even when they cannot afford the bus. Carl Jung made this clear through his understanding of the psyche. Great individuals did not transform reality because they had resources. They created resources because their inner world was ordered. Caesar crossed the Rubicon without asking permission. Napoleon rose from obscurity and brought kings to their knees. Do you think these men sat down to cry because they lacked means? No, brother. They generated resources through their mind, through vision, through an unbreakable will shaped from within. You and I know something. We live in a world that tells you that you need a title, perfect credit, or a family inheritance to succeed. All lies designed to keep you where you are. The uncomfortable truth is this: the system needs you to feel inferior to control you. A man who feels poor is a man who has been tamed. A man who thinks like a king, even with empty hands, is dangerous to the established order. Mental poverty is worse than economic poverty because it destroys you from the inside. A man without money, but with the mind of a conqueror, always finds a way. Always. But a man with a victim mentality, even if you hand him $1 million, will lose everything. Why? Because in his psyche, he is still deprived. He feels unworthy, sabotages himself, looks for excuses, blames the government, his parents, the economy, luck. Jungian individuals did not focus on what they lacked. They focused on what transformation came next. That is the key. While you focus on absence, someone else is focused on possibility. While you mourn what you do not have, someone else is strategizing how to claim what they desire. The difference is not starting money, it is psychological conditioning. Let me give you a real example. I know a man who arrived in this country without papers, without language, without connections. He slept on the floor of an apartment with 6 others. He never sat down to cry. He learned English by watching YouTube. He offered his services for free to learn the craft. In 6 months, he had 3 paying clients. In 1 year, he had a company. Today, he earns more than people with expensive university degrees. Difference. Mental structure. He never felt poor for a single second. Real power is built through awareness, not only through capital. Carl Jung taught that a conscious individual is worth more than 100 unconscious followers. What does that mean for you today? It means your ability to think symbolically, to read human behavior, to integrate your shadow, to form meaningful alliances, to recognize opportunities others cannot perceive, is worth more than any bank account. A man with sharp intelligence but no money is dangerous. A man with money but no intelligence is a victim waiting to be stripped. What comes next will unsettle many. Your network of human connections is infinitely more valuable than your bank balance. Those who are poor in mind collect objects. Those who are rich in mind collect strategic relationships. Do you know the right person? Doors open. Do you know how to introduce yourself? How to communicate value? How to make someone influential remember you? That changes everything. Carl Jung taught that power is not only external, it is psychological, and there is something even more important than being liked. It is better to be respected than to be invisible. And respect does not come from your financial statement. It comes from how you show up in the world. Act with the confidence of someone who already possesses inner authority, and people will respond as if you truly do. This is not an invitation to lie or pretend. It is an invitation to recognize your real worth, regardless of your temporary circumstances. I have seen how perception opens real doors. A person who presents himself with confidence, who speaks with clarity, who does not apologize for existing, gains meetings that others with superior resumes never reach. Why? Because influential people do not invest time in insecurity. They look for psychological solidity, and that is not visible in a bank account. It is visible in energy. The perception of abundance opens tangible opportunities. I am not talking about buying fake status symbols. That is hollow. I am talking about moving through life as if you have choices, as if you are not desperate, as if the world benefits from your presence. That inner posture is magnetic. It attracts opportunities, connections, and resources. Resources flow toward those who behave as if they already possess inner capital. Do you want to know what intelligent people do when they lack money? They invest in skills that cannot be taken away. A degree can be questioned, a job can be lost, but a mastered skill becomes part of your psyche forever. Learn to communicate, learn to persuade, learn to solve complex problems, learn to lead. These capacities make you unstoppable, whether you have capital or not. Carl Jung studied the dynamics of power and individuation, and all great figures shared one thing. They developed specific abilities that made them indispensable. Authority was not inherited, it was cultivated. They built it skill by skill, strategy by strategy. Here is a truth you may resist, but must hear. Resources appear when competence is demonstrated. No one invests in abstract potential. They invest in manifested action. Want someone to believe in you? Produce small results first. Create something from nothing, and watch how opportunities begin to emerge. Life rewards conscious action, not good intentions. I have seen entrepreneurs raise capital without starting money. How? They acted with what they had, built something small but real, produced measurable outcomes, and when they sought support, they had proof of inner and outer coherence. Investors do not bet on ideas, they bet on proven executors. Become that executor. Here is the difficult part. You must completely reject the submissive employee mentality. This does not mean quitting irresponsibly if you have obligations. It means mentally releasing the identity of someone who needs permission to create value. The employee mindset waits for instructions. The sovereign mindset creates direction. Even if you work for someone else, think like an owner. Employees think in hours. Owners think in results. Employees ask how much they will be paid. Owners ask how much meaning and value they can bring. This mental shift is the difference between staying stuck for 20 years or exploding in 2. Modern slavery does not come with chains. It comes with a bi-weekly paycheck and the illusion of safety. Your true value is not in your wallet, It is in your inner strategy. Carl Jung would say that a poor man with strategy is only temporarily poor. A rich man without strategy is only temporarily rich. Which one do you choose to be? History is full of heirs who squandered fortunes and of poor men who built empires. The difference was always psychological. Carl Jung did not study the psyche for the comfortable. He explored it for those willing to confront power within themselves, for individuals prepared to face their shadow and claim their authority without apology. The first step to power is not having resources. It is thinking like someone who is worthy of them. Because while you convince yourself that you cannot, someone with less is doing more. I am not asking you to deny real obstacles. I am asking you to stop using them as a mental refuge. Something powerful happens when you refuse to identify with inner poverty. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw walls. You begin to speak differently. Your body language changes. Your decisions become sharper. You stop operating from scarcity and start operating from strategic abundance. And believe me, people notice. Opportunities move toward those who embody abundance, not toward those who radiate need. Those who feel needy repel opportunity. They smell of desperation. They accept any deal. They sell themselves cheaply. Those who embody abundance attract opportunities. They have options. They negotiate from strength. They reject what does not serve their individuation. Guess who ends up building empires? Those who are abundant within. And abundance begins in the psyche, not in the bank account. Here is the master move. While everyone chases money, you chase inner capacities. Money is a consequence, not a purpose. Those who chase money directly often end up in work they despise, trading their soul for a paycheck. Those who pursue capacities end up mastering skills so valuable that money begins to chase them. Do you see the difference? Think of it this way. If tomorrow everything were taken from you, absolutely everything, what would remain? If the answer is nothing, then you never possessed anything real. But if the answer is my skills, my relationships, my mindset, my ability to create meaning and value, then you are unstoppable. They can take your money, but they cannot take what you have integrated into your psyche. Carl Jung valued individuation above all else. Individuation does not mean morality, it means the capacity to act consciously, the ability to shape reality through an integrated self. A man who is individuated can transform a city without an army. A man who is individuated can build a business without capital. This capacity is the ability to make things happen against all odds. Do you want to develop it? Start with small problems, resolve them completely, then medium ones, then larger ones. With each resolved problem, your confidence grows, your competence expands, your reputation strengthens, and eventually you become the person others call when the problem seems impossible. That person is never unemployed, never without options, never truly poor. Let me tell you about another principle people misunderstand. The psyche does not reward intentions, it responds to results. This is not an invitation to become ruthless. It is a reminder that reality listens to what you manifest, not what you promise. You can have the purest intentions in the world, but if you produce no results, you leave no trace. Results are the visible language of inner power. Mental poverty falls in love with effort itself. I worked so hard. I tried so much. No one is going to give you a medal for trying. The world rewards results. Carl Jung understood this deeply. A man who achieves in 1 hour through strategy what another needs a week of effort to accomplish. Who do you think wins? The strategic one. Always. Hard work without direction is nothing but wasted sweat. Here comes something uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to act before you feel ready. The mentally poor wait for the perfect moment. Complete preparation, total certainty. While they wait, the opportunity disappears. Carl Jung taught that consciousness expands through action, not through paralysis. Those who act with incomplete information understand that movement generates more insight than endless analysis. Do you feel ready? Irrelevant. Act anyway. Carl Jung explained that life is a living current of psychic energy. You can prepare your inner structures before it overflows, or you can be swept away when it arrives. Preparation matters, but there comes a point when you must leap. Those who wait for total certainty never leap. They remain on the shore, watching others cross and claim the other side. I will give you a truth few understand. Your greatest asset is not your time, not your money, not your education, it is your attention. Where you place your attention, you place your psychic energy. Where you place your energy, you create results. The mentally poor place their attention on problems, gossip, drama, complaints. The mentally rich place their attention on solutions, opportunities, execution, results. Control your attention, and you control your life. It is that simple and that difficult. We live bombarded by distractions designed to steal the only thing you truly possess. Your focus, social media, news, endless entertainment, all engineered to keep you mentally poor, reactive, fragmented. A man with laser focus is unstoppable. A distracted man is livestock. There is another aspect we must address: strategic loyalty. Carl Jung understood that relationships evolve and must nourish both sides of the psyche. Do not be the friend who always gives and never receives. Do not be the opportunist who only takes. Build relationships where both sides grow. Those are the relationships that last and open doors when you need them most. The mentally poor have friends who keep them poor. Their closest circles are mirrors of their stagnation. The mentally rich surround themselves strategically with people superior to them in some dimension. They seek mentors, partners, allies who elevate them. If you are the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. Your circle defines your ceiling. This is not cheap motivation. It is psychological observation. Studies show that your income averages that of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your level of ambition is calibrated by your environment. Your mindset is contagious through those around you. Choose who you spend time with, as if your future depended on it, because it literally does. Let us speak about something that hurts: the rejection of mediocrity. We live in a society that celebrates the average, so no one feels uncomfortable. Everyone is special. Everyone deserves a trophy. Comfortable lies. The truth is that excellence is rare. That is why it is valuable. And if you want to stand out, you must violently reject the temptation of mediocrity. Mediocrity is comfortable. It lets you sleep peacefully, demands nothing, allows you to remain unchanged, and precisely for that reason, it is deadly. Mediocrity is mental poverty disguised as humility. I do not want to be greedy. I do not need much. I tell myself that I am fine with very little. All of that sounds virtuous, even admirable, until one day you reach 50 years of age and realize that you allowed your potential to die quietly, not because you lacked talent, but because you were afraid of disturbing others. Carl Jung would say this was the moment when the shadow won, when fear disguised itself as humility. Princes do not ask for permission to become great. They do not apologize for their ambition. They do not hide their hunger for power, and neither should you, because what you repress does not disappear. It turns against you. Ambition itself is not wrong. Ambition without consciousness is what becomes destructive. Ambition without direction becomes chaos. But ambition with a plan, with personal ethics, with self-awareness, and with the capacity to act deliberately, that kind of ambition transforms both the individual and the world. Carl Jung understood that integration is power. I want to close this part with something essential. Your mind is your only true asset. Everything else can be taken from you at any moment. Your house, your car, your business, even your family circumstances can change or vanish. But what you know, how you think, your ability to adapt, your psychological resilience, your inner structure, those cannot be taken from you by force. That is why you invest in your mind first. Always, without exception. You read more than those around you. You study more deeply. You practice more deliberately. You fail more consciously, and you learn more honestly. Every book you do not read is an advantage you hand to someone else without resistance. Every skill you refuse to develop is an opportunity you leave untouched. Every day you do not improve is a day when someone else is closing the distance between you and them. The process never stops. Either you grow or you slowly fade into irrelevance. So listen carefully, because here is the full truth. Never allow yourself to feel poor in your identity, because the moment you accept that label, the defeat has already occurred inside you. Poverty is a psychological state before it ever becomes an economic one. The great men Carl Jung analyzed did not begin life with empires. They began with the psyche of conquerors, with an inner posture oriented toward expansion. And that mindset can be cultivated today by you, without asking permission from anyone. If you lack money, that is temporary. If you lack connections, you build them deliberately. If you lack skills, you acquire them through discipline. All of that can be solved with time, patience, and strategy. But if you see yourself as mentally poor, if you surrender to that identity, if you submit to that story about who you are, then it becomes permanent until the moment you decide to confront it. This channel exists to wake you up, not to soothe you. If you were looking for cheap motivation and empty encouragement, you came to the wrong place. Here we study real power, real strategy, real psychology. I will not lie to you by saying this is easy, but I will tell you the truth. It is possible. And if you apply these principles consciously, you become unstoppable. If this message stirred something inside you, if you felt that you needed to hear this, leave your like. Share it with someone who needs to wake up. Subscribe, because the next video will go even deeper. We are going to talk about how to recognize and dismantle your inner and outer enemies before they destroy you from within. Pure psychological strategy without filters. I will see you in the next one, warrior. And remember this, a prince is not born, he is forged. You decide today whether you begin building your own inner empire or whether you continue living as a pawn in someone else's game.